Godinez, the licensed professional counselor, also the host of We Need to Talk with Kris Godinez, which is this show here. This show is for informational and educational purposes only. If you feel you need a therapist, please go to Google, type in therapy today, psychology today. Your therapy thing will pop up. There will be all the therapists in your area. Go find one there. Also, the views and opinions stated herein are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the ACA, the APA, or any other therapist for that matter. Wow. So thank you again to Richie Grannon. Had such a phenomenal turnout at the seminar last night. It was so much fun to do. And then of course he came and was on the show at noon today, which was awesome. And we had honestly so many questions that I actually started writing them down after the show. And I thought, well, you know what, this next show, I'm just going to try to answer as many questions as I can that we didn't get to because there were so many people. Hey, Hazel. So, this is what we're doing. So if you have questions that we didn't get to, please go ahead and shoot them up on the page there and I'll try to answer them. So, wow. Okay. So a couple of things. Thank you, Scotty. My dog is walking through the set. Yay. So a couple of things. I have a new book out. It is called, You Can Lead a Horse to Water, but You Can't Make Him Cha-Cha. And it is case studies on narcissists, borderline psychopaths, and their targets. And I think it's a really good book for anyone who wants to understand what an abuser is, how they pick a target, and what the target is like, and how come some people stay in the abuse, and how come some others are able to get out of the abuse. So it's a great book for that. Okay, first question that we could not get to was, what is the difference between dissociative identity disorder and flashbacks? Okay, DID. So when you disassociate, basically what's happening is your brain has reached maximum capacity. It can no longer deal with the abuse that's happening. So when you disassociate, you leave your body. It's like, you know, let's say that you're being sexually molested. You literally leave your body and you're watching it from the corner of the room. It's a way of coping with the abuse. It's a way of dealing with it. The other time we disassociate is when we get triggered. And so we get triggered and we kind of do the same thing. You get that fuzzy, foggy, I'm not quite in my body. I'm kind of floating 5 feet above. I'm not quite here. That's all disassociating. Is it normal for our hurt to be so bad that we feel it in our tummy? Yes. Yes. Okay. So when I was a kid, I used to get horrific stomach aches because my father was abusive. And I kept telling my mom, my stomach hurts, my stomach hurts, my stomach hurts, my stomach hurts. Well, the stomach is our fear center. You know, people get ulcers, people get, whatever. If you look at it from an energy point of view, and I'm very much into energy work, that's our third chakra. That is where the fear center is. So if you're living in a constant state of fear, yeah, it's going to manifest in your stomach. Abso-freaking-lutely. So the difference between dissociative identity disorder and flashbacks. When you have CPTSD, you're going to have flashbacks. You're going to have emotional flashbacks. You're going to flash back to the abuse. Your body will respond as if the abuse were currently happening. Because remember, the amygdala is stupid. 3 O's, stupid. Cannot tell the difference between a current event, a future event, a past event, a thought about an event, or, really happening, emotional, physical. It can't tell the difference. It's really kind of dumb. So when we get triggered with a thought, a feeling, a smell, a sense, a memory, whatever, this guy gets lit up. It tells the hippocampus, the hypothalamus to release cortisol. We start tensing up. We start going into a panic as if the event is currently happening. That can cause us at that point to disassociate. They are two different things. So a flashback is when we have a memory of, we go back into the abuse, but the disassociation happens right after because it's like, oh shit, I don't like this. I don't like the way it feels. I'm going to check out. I don't want to feel it. And then we float up out of our bodies. So that is the difference between dissociative identity disorder and having a flashback with CPTSD. When the abuse is severe, yes, we will have flashbacks. Even when the abuse isn't severe, we'll have flashbacks. We'll flash back to it. Our body will act as if it's happening in the moment. The amygdala says, oh my God, we're being abused right here, right now, even though it was a past memory. Then we disassociate so that we don't have to feel it, think it, hear it, see it thing. So that's the difference between DID and flashbacks. I hope that answers the question. The next one. Why do we have to work on the original wound? Why do we have to do that? How do we rebuild trust? Okay. So where people get into trouble with abusive relationships is there is always something that has not always, but a lot of times there are things that have happened in your family of origin. And if there was not a secure attachment, if you did not attach securely to your caregivers, you had an insecure attachment. And that means that in the future, when you go looking for a mate, your imago of what a mate is going to be mom or dad who you were insecurely attached to. And subconsciously, we attempt to fix that original wound by getting together with somebody who reminds us of mom or dad or both. Unfortunately, what ends up happening is we get with an abuser and we don't only not fix that original attachment issue, we create more attachment issues. So it's really, really important to work on that original wound, work on that breaking of trust, because our caregivers broke our trust when we were kids and caused us to have an insecure attachment. So trust is earned. Trust is earned. It's kind of like you're going to have to be from Missouri, the show me state. So you have to start learning how to trust. And that's hard to do when you have been harmed so much from a young age, or abandoned or neglected or, hurt or abused. It's really, really hard to start building trust. So the first way you start building trust is with yourself. So that means you have to do the self work. You have to separate out what is you, what is your caregiver, what is you, what is mom, what is you, what is dad. And you have to start building your own self-trust. You have to start trusting yourself. Trust your gut is what I always tell people. Always, always trust your gut. Don't trust your head. Don't trust your heart. These two guys will steer you wrong. The gut will never, ever steer you wrong, but you have to learn to listen to it. Our guts are talking to us all the time. Where we get into trouble is when we don't listen to it. We go against it. Every time I've ever gone against my gut, it's always turned out poorly. So you got to listen to your gut. You've got to learn to start trusting yourself. Once you start trusting yourself, you will then be able to start trusting other people. And you want to have boundaries. You want to have the word no be able to be used, know when I mean it, and you need a list of deal breakers. Once somebody crosses that deal breaking thing, you're done. Nope. You don't get to disrespect me. You don't get to harm me. You don't get to put me down. You don't get to be mean to me. You don't get to, nope, not doing it. Been there, done that. Bought the souvenir program. Ain't going back. Wipe your hands, be done. Have a list of deal breakers. All right. Okay, 12 steps. So a lot of people actually said, well, the 12-step program can be really bad for codependents. Okay, look, guys, you're going to find cluster B narcissists. You're going to find abusers in every area, every single area. What I think I was trying to get at earlier is I've gone to adult children of alcoholics and ACOA, and I found it very helpful. I did, because my dad was an alcoholic. Are there abusers in those programs? Yeah, you bet. Are there abusers walking around? Yes. Do they live amongst us? Yes. So you want to be very careful when you do go to support groups, because yes, there's always going to be predators. Predators know where to hang out, and they hang out at places like that so that they can prey on people. Again, trust your gut, trust your gut, trust your gut. Don't trust somebody who wants to, meld with you immediately, because that's a huge red flag. When I go to those things, I like to kind of separate. I like to kind of watch and observe, and, I'll participate, but, I don't get too close to anybody until I kind of feel it out and see who they are and what they are about. So I love AA, to be perfectly honest, because, hey, Nancy, thank you. Because damn, this connection, mother puss buckets. Okay. So, sorry, we're working on the connection. We think there's maybe something in the wall that's causing the problem. So we're going to get an electrician out to try to figure it out. So I do apologize in advance. We have been having connection issues. So, the 12 steps, you can get the book. And here's the thing. When we are with an abuser, we are addicted. We are addicted to the abuser. We are addicted to that oxytocin. We are addicted to the serotonins, the dopamines, the norepinephrines, because of the highs and the lows, the intermittent positive rewards. It's the roller coaster. We get addicted to that. So when our abuser is out of our life, we push them out of our life, we go through withdrawals, just like an alcoholic goes through withdrawals, just like a heroin addict goes through withdrawals. That's why it keeps saying the 12 steps is invaluable. Hey, Sally. So it's because you're asking the question. Okay, so how do we know that we aren't the abuser? Because you're asking the question. Abusers are not introspective. Abusers are absolutely not introspective. They do not contemplate the universe. They don't contemplate their navel. They don't, they're not introspective. If you're asking if you're the abuser, you're not the abuser. So, backing it up, 12-step program. So going through the 12-step program for yourself is super important if you're getting away from an abuser, because we are as addicted to the abuser as we could be to alcohol, heroin, meth, cocaine, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you treat it the same way. The only difference is that your substance was your abuser. So you can get the big book. You can get it on Amazon. You can work it at home. Work the steps. Work the steps. Work the steps. Treat it like an addiction. It's gonna help you. I promise you that. If you can go to an AA meeting, great, go. If you don't feel comfortable, don't go. And it's so funny because I have some clients that are like, oh, but it's religious and it's this and it's that. Okay, you know what I do? I'm a Buddhist. I mean, I'm a Christian, but I'm a Buddhist. So when they start, talking God and, higher power, I go, the tree outside, the universe, the star, the sun, the moon, you just substitute. You just substitute so that it works for you. There are Wiccan AAs. There are the Norse gods AAs. You name it, we got it. So you just got to go and find a meeting that works for you. The only meetings I do not like are the ones where the people are super snotty and, they're all holier than thou in there and they're, oh, we're sober, we're sober, we're sober. And meanwhile, they're out in the parking lot blowing coke. It's like snorting coke up their nose, doing blow. So you will find those in some of the cheachier areas. I tend to stay away from the cheachier areas. So, okay, so you want to do the 12 steps and you can get the big book and you can start working it at home and just change the language so it works for you. If you're getting all hung up on the language, you want to find out why you're using that as the excuse to not get better. Just saying. Okay, can you explain why the spiritual help for the emotional problem, like the 12 steps? It's not so much spiritual. It is, but it isn't. It's like, with the 12 steps, what I find and found and continue to find to be the most helpful is that fearless moral inventory. Because remember, abusers want us to be them. They want us to lie. They want us to cheat. They want us to steal. They want us to be dishonest. They want us to be a mini me of them. So with AA, you are doing that fearless moral inventory. Am I on the right path? What is the next right step? Who do I need to make amends to? How do I stay honest? How do I stay truthful? How do I stay full of integrity? And you keep moving that way. The spiritual part of it, I like relying on a higher power, but that's just me. I mean, not everybody's going to dig that. So, and that's cool if they don't. If it helps you to love the tree outside, love the tree outside. I don't care. Whatever it does that helps you get the fuck away from the abuser, do it. For me, AA, the 12 steps, that helps. So, but there's other ways to do it. So there's, the cognitive behavioral, DBT, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, okay. Next question was, and if you guys have questions, please feel free to type them in and jump in and have your own questions, because I'm just trying to hit all the questions that we weren't able to get to, because it was crazy to me when Richie was here that it's like I would find a question, I'd be like, okay, I'm going to read this, and oh crap, it's gone. Okay, so yeah, if you guys have questions. Okay, next question. Going no contact with a toxic family, how to keep your sanity. Okay, so what will happen is, here's Baba. What will happen is toxic families do not want you to leave them because they need that drama. They need the triangulation. They need you to stay enmeshed in the, he's going to bark, enmeshed in the family so that they have a focus. So remember, dysfunctional families have roles for everyone to play. There's a golden child, the child that can do no wrong. They've got the scapegoat, the one that can do no right. They've got the ignored middle child. They've got the comedian. They've got, different roles, second wife, second husband, second, depending on how really messed up that family is. They've got the different roles that they have to play. So the toxic family is not going to want you to go no contact. And what they will do is they will recruit flying monkeys, cousins, aunts, uncles to try to suck you back into that relationship. Because once one person in the family becomes healthy and happy and whole, that forces that family to start moving. And it also starts forcing them to question what they are doing. They don't like that because it makes them very, very, very uncomfortable. My dog. Okay, so How do you keep your sanity? So the question was, okay, you've said no to the family, you've pushed them away, you're done with the toxicity, but now you're kind of alone. You make your own family. Family is not always blood. Family is not always blood. Some of the best family members I have are friends. So you go with who is supportive. You cultivate those relationships that are healthy, that are supportive, that are loving, that are kind, that are not toxic. So that's how you keep your sanity. You go to therapy, you go to support groups, you make sure that you have support in some way, shape, or form. So that's how you keep your sanity when you're going no contact with a toxic family. Okay, there were some questions up here. You helped me a lot stay away from my abuser, especially with the hoovering. Baba! I'm working here. Sorry. He has been trying for a year and a half. Yeah. Abusers don't stop depending on how psychotic they are. If they are the psychopath, abuse or obsessive X syndrome, they don't stop until sometimes they stop when they get another supply, but oftentimes they don't even stop when that happens. So yeah, with the hoovering, you just got to keep going. You just got to keep, nope, not going to respond, not going to respond, not going to respond. You just keep going. And here's the thing about hoovering. Hoovering can happen from right after the relationship ending up to decades later. Like, it's crazy. It can happen up to decades later. Okay. You've mentioned that narcissists don't love, but are borderlines capable of love? Yes. I believe that the borderline personality disordered people, yes, on the lower end of the spectrum. So the waifs, the hermits, the quiet ones, those ones are capable of love. They have emotional deregulation. When you get further along the malignant scale and you get into the witches and the queens, the ones who are sadistic and intentionally controlling, manipulating, Machiavellian, narcissistic, harming, then no, that they wouldn't recognize love if it walked up and did the Watusi with them. So, because oftentimes it does, and they don't even recognize it. Scapegoat, when you stop doing what they want, I guess that is a sign you are doing well, and they attack. Yeah. So yeah, the scapegoat is usually the one in the family who sees them, who gets it, who's just like, yeah, I see how fucked up this game is. Yeah, I see what you're up to. And so they become the scapegoat. It's like everything's their fault. Everything's, them, you guns, that kind of thing. Okay, I had a question from earlier today. I can post again, but it was about a golden child with children and me needing to pay dues to see them. Oh, Richie and I talked about that, and I'm so sorry we didn't get to that. Shoot. Okay, so what he and I were saying is that if the kids are minors, you really don't have much choice, because the parents obviously have final say because they're the parents. If the kids are minors, all you can do is let the kids know you love them, send them cards, I love you, that kind of thing. But you really have to wait kind of until they're adults, unless you're willing to pay the dues to see the kids. But if the paying the dues to see the kids is harming you, then you don't want to do that. So that's a tough one, guys. That's a tough one. When a narcissist, when an abuser has control of children, and it's usually nieces and nephews or cousins, and you can't see them because of the abuser, that's really tough. All you can do is somehow let them know that you love them and you care about them. And then the second they turn 18, you are free to go see them. So yeah, that's a tough one. I hope that answered the question. Really, basically, until they are 18, you don't have any options. It's like you either suck it up and play by the narc's rules to see the kids and hope that you can be some sort of influence on them, or you just wait until they're 18 and you just keep sending cards and letters and I love you and I'm thinking of you and I can't wait for you to come visit and blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, I love dogs too. My poor dog is senile and I do apologize. He will bark occasionally just because he feels like it. So, okay. CPTSD and fatigue. Yes. Okay. So when you have complex post-traumatic stress disorder, you are going to be fatigued. Why? Because this poor little guy is lighting up like a Christmas tree and it's constantly going off saying, oh my God, 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 we're in danger, we're in danger, we're in danger, we're in danger, which then means that the adrenal gland over here is pumping out adrenaline like nobody's business, and you are going to get adrenal gland fatigue is what it's called. So, and it's because we're constantly in a heightened state of panic and we're in a heightened state of, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. and the adrenal gland is just pumping out adrenaline like nobody's business, eventually it goes, fuck you, I'm tired, and it stops, and you're just kind of, ah. So yeah, you are going to feel fatigued. My recommendation would be get with a good naturopath. Start working on the adrenal gland fatigue. Let them know that you have CPTSD, and most naturopaths are really good about working with that. So I've got one here in Gilbert that's just amazing. It's Brent Cameron is my naturopath, and he's amazing. He's over at Aurora Naturopathic Medicine. So, and he's in Gilbert. So he's great. I love him to death. And I really hope I can still get in to see him now that I've just recommended him to 100,000 million people. Oh, well. Okay. Working with narcissists. Okay. I had the question last night. What do you do if you are working with a narcissist? They're either a coworker or they are a boss. So, and Richie and I, again, we're talking about this. It's like you play the game while you're at work. You know, narcissists love to take credit for stuff. They love to have their egos stroked. So you basically manipulate them. You use manipulation for good instead of evil. So you basically, you know, stroke their ego and give them credit. And, oh gosh, I couldn't have done this without you. And I mean, yeah, you're going to want to throw up after the end of the day. But really, if you're working with a narcissist and your coworker is a narcissist and it's a hostile work environment, look for another job, get out. Because usually what ends up happening is narcissists do tend to get into managerial positions because it's power, it's control, they enjoy it. But the thing about narcissists is they cannot maintain it. They burn through people really quickly. They'll have a high turnover rate. And eventually, either the company will implode or the narcissist will implode. But either way, you don't want to be around when that happens. So I recommend that as soon as you figure out you're working with a narcissist, figure out if you can out-manipulate them and then get away from them, get transferred to a different section or a different group or whatever. Or you just go, okay, I'm going to play this game until I can get out, and then I'm going to get another job. So there is that. Okay. Fear of turning kids into narcissists. Okay, this question got asked over and over and over again. Oh my God, I don't want to hurt my children. I don't want them to become narcissists. How do I stop that from happening? You know, the dad or the mom is narcissistic. How do I protect my child? So that's a tough one. So nature or nurture. So the question I also had was, well, how does somebody become borderline? How does somebody become a narcissist? With borderline personality disorder, it is generally based in trauma. It is based in trauma. So when a child's needs are not getting met, they're in the crib. They're allowed to just sit there and cry for hours, okay? Because that's Benjamin Spock used to recommend that, Dr. Spock, you know, the baby books. A generation was raised like this. You know, you let your children cry. You don't go comfort them. I'm sorry. What fucking kind of asshole gives that kind of fucking advice? No, your child is crying. You go comfort them. Why? So that they know that they are loved and taken care of and that they're not just going to die. So when a child's needs are not being met, it is based in trauma. Borderline personality disorder is based in trauma. That is why borderline and CPTSD have so many similar characteristics: the emotional deregulation, the raging, you know, that kind of thing. So they're very, very similar. I do have a great deal of compassion for BPD down on this traits of spectrum of it, because that's trauma. You can work with that. You can help them with that. Again, once they reach the malignant end of it and they're harming people intentionally, hell no, you cannot help them because they like it. They enjoy it.
Cox.
Oh my God, no more Cox. No more Cox. No, definitely not. Sorry. So for borderline personality disorder, there's two things that I recommend. There's a great book called The Borderline Survival Guide by Chapman and Gratz. It's a great book. And then CPTSD, From Surviving to Thriving by Pete Walker, because it's based in trauma. So you want to address the trauma. You want to figure out what the trauma is. The problem of it is that by the time a lot of people with BPD get into therapy, they don't know what the trauma is. They insist there is no trauma, but I can guarantee you there's some trauma back there somehow, some way. If you have BPD, work on the trauma. Figure it out. It may be pre-verbal. So that's why you may want to look at NLP to help you kind of get into that and back into the subconscious and figure out what's going on. So there is that. Yeah, my mom was BPT and she hated Dr. Spock. Oh, the irony. I can't speak. My dog face banana patch. The ironing. Oh, the ironing. Okay, so there is that. Now, narcissistic personality disorder. How does that come about? Nature, nurture, we still don't know. I honestly think there is a genetic component to it. I do, because you can have a family, siblings, and one sibling will have BPD, one sibling will have NPD, and the other ones will be relatively bunny ears normal. How, why, I don't know. Couldn't tell you. So, but NPD again comes from a lack of empathy. There's no empathy. It's almost like there's a cog missing. Like there's something, the lights are on, the engine's running, and the emotional stuff is just not there. So with a narcissist, they do not love. They do not love. I do believe that borderlines, when they're down at the lower end of the spectrum, love. But with a narcissist, no, they're not love as you and I would define it. So yeah, there's that. Okay, fear of turning the kids into narcissists. Okay, so it's all about self-esteem. It's all about boundaries. It's all about secure connection. So when a child has a secure connection, they do not put up with abuse. They also do not turn into abusers. Most abusers have an insecure connection and they have a dismissive style of dealing with it. So in other words, the family was not consistent, didn't comfort them, didn't let them know they were safe. And in order for them to feel safe, they had to be powerful. They had to push people away first. So most cluster Bs fall into the dismissive, insecure attachment style. Now, that is not to say that everyone with dismissive, insecure attachment is an abuser. So again, I'm going to give you this analogy. Hang with me. All plums are prunes, but not all prunes are plums. Okay, so think of it that way. So abusers generally will have an insecure, dismissive attachment style, but that does not mean that everyone with an insecure, dismissive attachment style is an abuser. Something to think about. Okay, so with the kids, you want to have a secure attachment style. You want to make sure their self-esteem is working, functioning, that their inner dialogue is kind and gentle and supportive and encouraging. It's like if they're scared, they're able to self-soothe. They're able to go, okay, I'm okay. Everything's fine. It's going to be all right. I'm going to get through this dark, scary patch. It's all good. You want to work on that stuff. So the self-esteem workbook by Schiraldi, have them work it. You're not too young. You can start when they're little. You can start doing mirror work when they're little. I've got parents working with little ones, like 4-year-olds on mirror work, like, hi, it's good to see you. Have a good day. That kind of thing. So yeah, you work on that. You work on boundaries. You work on a list of deal breakers. What will you and what will you not put up with? Now, the sad thing of it is that if you are dealing with a spouse who is personality disordered and you're still living in the house with them, the kids are seeing everything that's going on. They're not stupid. They pick up on stuff. So you may want to question, and that's the other thing. I get people saying, oh, well, I'm staying with them for the sake of the children. Oh God, I think I just had an aneurysm. Yeah, don't do that, guys. Kids are not dumb. Kids are not dumb. They see the abuse. They hear the verbal abuse. They see this stuff. You don't want them around that. You really, truly don't. You want them away from the abuser. The other thing I see too are toxic parents, toxic grandparents, and I hear people go, but it's their grandparents. Well, okay, if they were normal grandparents, that would be great. But if they're not, if they were abusive to you, what in the fuck makes you think that they're not going to be abusive to your kids? Do not have them around, period. So there's that. I compare psychopaths not having empathy to a colorblind person not being able to see color. Their physiology doesn't have the components. No disrespect to colorblind folks. Yeah, it's very similar. There's a cog missing. It's just the lights are on, the engine's running, and ain't nobody home. So yeah, okay. Okay. How do you help someone in denial? Okay, this is the hard one. So this is kind of what my book is about. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him cha-cha, which is available on Amazon. She said, shamelessly public plugging this. Okay, so when someone is in denial, they are in the fog. They are in the fog. They are going through fear. obligation, guilt. They're trying to identify with the aggressor. They're going to, even in the face of absolute proof that this person is abusive, even when they have, stuff in front of them going, look, this person is abusive. Hola, ¿cómo estás? They will deny it. They will excuse make, oh, well, he or she had a bad childhood, or he or she, just was having a rough day, or, whatever. They will deny. They will excuse, justify, rationalize, shift blame. Gosh, what does that sound like? That sounds like addiction. Hola! This is what we do when our family and friends come to us with the intervention letters going, look, motherfucker, you're a goddamn addict. And we go, no, we're not. No, it's good for me. I loosen up when I drink. Yeah, that's it. We make excuses. We justify. It's an addiction. It's an addiction. So you treat it like an addiction. And unfortunately, sometimes with addicts, you've got to be uber blunt with them. It's just like Richie was saying. It's like sometimes you do a truth that is just like, bam, motherfucker. You get in their face and you're like, look, this is what this person is doing to you. Can you not see that you've given up everything you love? Can you not see that you have lost family, friends, hobbies, money, jobs, integrity, your self-esteem? Where the fuck did this person go? Hello? Yeah. Now, is it going to wake them up? Sometimes it does. Just like sometimes interventions work. And sometimes they don't. And all you can do is speak your truth. Because again, and they still don't care. Again, just like with an addict, you can do an intervention and they may just go, fuck you, I'm going over the cliff, whether you want me to or not. And at that point, you got to go, okay, well, at least I fucking told you. Boom, shaka, laka. You know what I'm saying? You let it go and you've said your piece. You've let them know. And if they choose, because it's a goddamn choice, if they choose to go over that cliff, you have a clear conscience because you told them. You were like, look, this person's abusive. Get out of the relationship. What the fuck? But if they tell you, fuck you, I don't care. Okay, well, great. Keep doing your meth then because I'm not going to watch you die. Sorry. I'm not going to be around to watch you die. I am loving you from afar. That's when you close down the friendship. That's when you close down the relationship with the family member. You close it down, but you let them know. I'm shutting the door because I don't want to see you die. I'm not interested in watching you die by inches because that's what this person is doing to you. They are killing you by inches. They're killing your soul. They are soul killers. I can't stand watching it. So I'm going to shut the door. Now, if you want this relationship to work with me, here's what needs to happen. They need to be out of your life. Period. They need to be out of your life. You need to be in therapy. Abso-fucking-lutely. You need to be working on that original wound. Why do you keep getting involved with abusers? Why? What the fuck, dude? What the fuck, dudette? What the fuck? And you need to make a fierce moral inventory. What have you done for the abuser in the name of the abuser to harm yourself, first of all, your family, your friends, your coworkers, etc.? How did you lose your integrity? Then you make amends. And then you ask the people that you harmed to go to therapy with you to rebuild that relationship. There's a path back. You have to be brave and you have to be willing to take it. Just like with an addict. So, okay, where was I? Okay. What is an addiction to abuse? Someone who sees it, claims to hate it, but stays in it and excuses it. Yeah. Excuse making. It's an addict. I don't know if you guys have ever been around addicts before, but we will say anything to keep taking our drug of choice. They will say anything to stay with the abuser because they're too terrified of the alternative, which is to actually be alone with the interior dialogue and work on that original attachment issue. You got to work on the original attachment issue. If you don't work on the original attachment issue, you are going to go from one abuser to another abuser to another abuser to another abuser. Richie calls it dolphining. You come up out of it and you go, oh God, I'm never going to do that again. Oh, look, another abuser. Yay. And then you just keep cycling through until they finally kill you because that's exactly what will happen. Because abusers want you dead. They do. You know why? Because they hate themselves to the core. They hate themselves to the core. If you want to get all psychological about it, they hate themselves to the core. And they want what they think you have that they don't. So you're good looking, you're funny, you're sweet, you're kind, you're whatever. They want that, they get that, and then what do? They set about to kill it. They take away your funny. They take away your humor. Suddenly it's no longer okay to be humorous. Suddenly it's no longer okay to be flirty. Suddenly it's no longer okay to have hobbies. No, you cannot hang out with your sister or your brother or your cousin or your aunt or your uncle because I don't want you talking about me if I'm not there. Ooh, yeah, they start their voodoo shit, man. I'm telling you, you change. They change. It's almost like a possession. It really fucking is. It's like they start turning into the abuser, and it's sad to watch. Good God, I got off on a rant. Okay, where was I? Denial. Oh, so you call it. You absolutely call it out. You call it out. Just like with an intervention, you call it out. You're going to die. Here's how you're going to die. Oh, you're afraid of dying alone? Guess what? The abusers made it so that you don't have any of your family or friends around. You are going to die alone. You won't if you get rid of the abuser, but you will if you stay with them. Hello? Earth to the abusee. Come in, please. All right, so there's that. And then you just keep doing it. You keep your stance. You don't. Here's the thing. The abuser will make it so that you can't see them anymore. They will. They'll lay it out. They'll tell you exactly what they're going to do. And they will make it so that you can't see them anymore. And they're hoping that that's going to shut you up because your fear of losing the target of abuse will be so great that you're going to want to shut up and not keep saying anything, but you can't do that. You cannot do that because it's just like when an addict goes on a binge and the family hasn't said anything because they're so afraid of losing them, but yet ultimately they end up losing them to the drug because they didn't say anything. You've got to say something. You have got to speak up. For your own well-being, you have to. Okay. Finding the true self. Okay. So when we come out of an abusive relationship, we don't know who the fuck we are because we have pushed down who this real person is for so long that we no longer remember who the fuck we are. And if we are abused when we were little kids, and it could be pre-verbal, who are we really? When we finally come out of the fog and we realize, holy crap, I don't have to be the way that mom and dad said I had to be. I don't have to live in fear. I don't have to do this. I don't have to do that. And we start going, well, who am I? And that's a little scary. It can be, but I want you to turn the thinking around. I want you to reframe it. This is real freedom, guys. You get to do what you've always wanted to do. Who are you? What are your wants? What are your needs? What do you want to do? What do you find fun? Because with an abuser, they take over everything, and I literally have had narcissists sit on my couch when I didn't realize they were a narcissist, sitting on my couch and go in a couples counseling session and scream at their partner, what about my wants? What about my needs? And at that point I went, and we'll be doing individual because this person is clearly an abuser. So they make their partner give up their wants, their needs, their desires, their fun, their family, their friends to spend all time with them. Even if they are spending 24/7 with the abuser will say that it's not enough. And for the abuser, it's not. So when we get out of that abusive relationship, now we're alone and we're freaking out because we've got those thoughts going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I'm alone, I'm alone, I'm alone, which means you need to be in. There we go. Okay, sorry guys. Yeah, it's Cox cable, and don't get me started. Anyway, okay. So it's codependency, it's self-esteem, it's working on all of that. You need to stay alone for at least a year, and you need to solidly work on yourself. And that's how you find your true self. You start doing things for you, and it's going to feel scary, and it's going to feel weird. And when you first buy things for yourself, you're going to feel guilty. That's all normal after coming out of an abusive relationship. You start exploring who you are and what you like to do. So that's what you do. You try new things. You try new things. Reframe it. This is not scary. It is scary, but it's not scary. It's freeing. You get to take your power back. You get to figure out that you like swimming, or that you like flying a kite, or gosh darn it, I really like East Indian food, or holy cow, who'd have thought I do want to jump out of an airplane? Not really, no. But you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like you get to do things and figure out what it is you want and need. So use this as the opportunity to explore, to have fun, to play. Please play. We don't play enough. When we get abused, we don't play. Go play. Go swing on a swing set. Go slide down a slide. Go figure out what you want to do. Have fun with it. Let's reframe it. Okay. Do abusers, question. Can it be that an addictive personality might hook up, quote unquote, fall in love with someone who creates some sort of addictive dynamic, which turns into, yes. So remember, narcissists, malignant borderlines look for codependence. They look for that addictive personality. They look for empaths. They look for anyone who wants to heal all the time, or anyone who's good at healing all the time. And so they present with this beautiful mask. Oh, I'm your perfect mate. I love everything you love. Oh, look at that. We're meant to be. You're my soulmate. You're this, you're that. But as soon as they get their hooks into you, oh my sweet baby Jesus, the mask slips and the abuser comes out. And the next thing you know, you've lost your family, you've lost your friends, you've lost your hobby, you've pissed off a fucking hell of a lot of people. You're lying. You're doing things you would never normally do. Absolutely. They are monsters. Absolutely. So yeah, they look for empaths. They look for codependency, you bet. And then they play on it like nobody's business. They will play the victim to the hilt. You betcha. Okay. I hope that answered the question. Okay. Do abusers change tactics when they realize that you're onto them? Oh, you bet. They are the chameleons. They are the Academy Award-winning chameleons of the psychology world. So as soon as they realize that somebody is going to leave them, they're like, you know, if their tactic had been to be at that point in time the devalue and the discard, and they're devaluing and leveling and being mean and being cruel and being awful, and they're thinking you're just going to keep putting up with this, but then they realize all of a sudden, no, you're packing your bag and you're walking out the door. Suddenly it will be, oh, but I love you so much. That's why I'm so detailed. Go fuck yourself. Yeah, they will absolutely change their tactics. You bet. They'll flip from abuser to victim. They'll flip from victim to aggressor. They'll flip from aggressor to, I just don't understand why you're doing this. Yeah, they'll do whatever the fuck they think they need to keep you hooked so that they have their lovely, delicious narcissistic supply. You bet. You bet, you bet. Okay, thank you. Re-addiction in general and the attraction from the narc. I don't think Diane, can you say that again? I'm not quite sure I understand what you mean. So write it again. Tell me more. I don't understand. And I'll get to it. So type it up and I'll try to get to that. Okay. People call me crazy and I feel the need to defend myself, but the more I defend myself, the crazier I look. Yes. So this is a game that abusers play, is that they will accuse the person who sees what they're doing, the target of their abuse, or the scapegoat, or, you know, family members, friends. They'll accuse them of everything that they are doing. And then the person who's being persecuted feels like, oh shit, I got to defend myself, because that's what normal people do. But here's the deal. The more you defend yourself, the crazier you're going to look, because the narcissist flips stories. The story is always changing. They don't tell the same story twice, and they don't tell the same story twice to the same person. And sometimes they don't tell the same story twice to the person that they've been talking to. I mean, it'll flip in the middle of the story. So whenever you feel the need to defend yourself, don't stop. You know who you are. Your true friends know who you are. Your true family knows who you are. You don't need to defend yourself. That is an ego thing. Tell the ego to thank you for your input. Shut the fuck up. You do not need to defend yourself. You don't, because they're not going to change their minds. It's not like you're going to give this wonderful defense and they're suddenly going to go, oh, of course. You're sane. I didn't mean all those horrible things. No, they're not going to change. So stop, save your breath. You're wasting your breath. Don't defend yourself. You don't have to. You know who you are. And if you don't, get with a good therapist. Get with a good therapist who understands domestic violence, because that's what these people are doing. They are gaslighting. They are changing the story. They are rewriting history. And we might go a little long tonight, so I just want to warn everybody until I blast through all of these questions, because I want to make sure I get them all answered. Okay. Okay. People call me crazy. Okay, I got that one. Okay, how do you help kids? I think I already covered that. When one parent is either BPD or NPD, you get out of the relationship, you get them into a therapist, and you work on self-esteem. Oftentimes when I'm dealing with a personality disordered divorce situation, a high conflict divorce situation, the personality disordered person will attempt to keep the kids from getting into therapy. So anytime you're going to go through a divorce with a high conflict possibility, high toxicity, etc., number one, you want an attorney that understands high conflict divorce. Abso-freaking-lutely. Number two, you want written into the custody agreement that the kids are going to have therapy, period. And it's non-negotiable. So, because then that'll make the narcissist or the borderline look really bad if they're trying to deny therapy. Do you see where I'm going with that? And it's all about appearances for them. You want to make sure that you are working closely with the therapist, and you want to make sure that you are working on self-esteem, borders, boundaries, and the word no, and I mean it, and to help them write out what's going on, journal, so that when dad or mom, whoever the cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs parent is driving them crazy, they have an outlet and they're not just stuck with it all in their head. You want to work on security, that they know that they're secure with at least one parent, because if they have at least one parent that they are absolutely rock solid secure with, they're going to be okay. They're going to be okay because they'll have that security there. Okay. And you want to smash any sort of parental alienation and never, ever, ever speak badly about the crazy parent. Even though they're batshit crazy, even though they're a problem, you do not want to do that. Why? Because the kid is 50% them. And the kid is going to go, well, shit, if they don't like mom or dad, do they not like me too? So you don't want to do that. You want to make it very clear that you love them. So, okay, self-love is key. Okay, self-love is key. So what I have seen abusers do is turn things against people. So let's say there's somebody with disability in a family. An abuser will use that and shame the person for having the disability. It could be dyslexia. It could be a physical disability. It could be a mental disability. It could be something else. They will shame that child. So you've got to have good self-love. And once you're out of that toxic family system and you recognize that they are turning something against you that really doesn't need to be turned against you because it's a disability. Hello. It's not like people go, yay, I really want a disability. Thanks. You work with a good therapist. You work on your self-esteem. You work on boundaries. You work on saying no. And you do not allow these people in your life. You kick them out. Because here's the question. If you are in a toxic family situation, if you were not related to these people, would you have anything to do with them? And if the answer is no, act accordingly. You do not owe these people anything. Zip, zero zilch. You owe them nothing. So act accordingly. Okay. How do we work on healing that inner wound? How do we work on shame? Okay, that's a really good question. So, shame generally is shoved into our space when we are little. So when we are little, we need to start doing inner child work. So how do you do inner child work? There's a couple of ways you can do it. You can write and burn letters to younger you, kind of like, hey, I'm here for you now. Let me write out everything that I know happened to you. Let's work it through. And you work it through with a therapist. So you could do writing and burning letters, or you can do guided imagery. And in guided imagery, it's you working with younger you. And the therapist will talk you through it. So, and there's some stuff on YouTube too about doing some guided imagery about working on wounded inner child. And oftentimes what I do is I have my clients ground themselves. I teach them how to ground themselves. And then I walk them through a scenario where they're sitting and it's beautiful and it's safe and it's gorgeous and the sun is shining, the birds are singing, and they call the younger you to them. And then they hold them and they say, what do you need? And oftentimes the child just needs to know that they're safe. And that's what we're missing. That's that insecure attachment. That's how you start working on that, is you become your own parent. You re-parent yourself. You work on the guided imagery to let that little you know that you are safe. They are safe. You're not going to let anybody hurt them. So that's how you start working on that. Question up here. Hang on. How can you help a 20-something-year-old friend who is in an abusive relationship? He lies to us, he or she lies to us about it and denies the abuse without seeming controlling or like you're parenting them, but just loving them where they are. You be honest about it. If it's an abusive relationship, you call out what you're concerned about. You call it as you see it. You know, you don't just sweep it under the carpet. You don't go, this is the biggest mistake people make. They go, oh, well, they're adults. They know what they're doing. Well, if they knew what they were doing, they wouldn't be getting involved in an abusive relationship. So you call it. I'm concerned. I see this going on in this relationship. I'm concerned because I hear you lying and you never used to do that. What's going on? Are they going to come around? Maybe. Are they not? Maybe. I don't know. But you got to speak your truth. That's the big thing. You got to speak your truth. Lots of therapy. Yeah, that's true. Okay. After half a year with no contact with a psychopath, not only has it become easier to maintain, but the drama and conflict that surrounds him, and his crew is no longer lingering in my mind. Peace and harmony are back. It seems the only purpose of abusers is to interject chaos inside. Yes. Because what they're trying to do is they're trying to rid themselves of their own chaos. So hang on, I got to take a drink of water. Hang on. They're trying to rid themselves of their own chaos by shoving it into your space, because they think if they run their energy through you, they'll somehow feel better. What they don't understand is they have a never-ending supply of chaos and drama because they enjoy it. On some level, they enjoy it. So that's what they're doing. Yeah, and you don't want that. Yeah, when they leave your life, it's amazing. It's like so quiet, so peaceful, so calm, and it will stay that way, caveat, as long as you work on yourself and you have a therapist and you go back and you fix that original wound and you do the inner child work. You call the little you to you and start re-raising him or her. That you keep working on the self-esteem, that you draw strong boundaries, that you have a list of deal breakers. And the second somebody crosses one of those, you tell them goodbye in no uncertain terms and know that you will be okay and you will always be loved because the family and friends who truly love you are there. They've just been shoved away by the abuser. The door is shut. It is not locked. So, okay. Why are some people abuse magnets? Okay, Ross Rosenberg wrote a great book on this called The Abuse Magnets. Shoot, no, it's Ross Rosenberg. What the hell is it? My brain is gone. Anyway, he wrote a book, Ross Rosenberg. Look it up. I can't think of it. But it's about why some people are abuse magnets. So it's because of the empaths. It's because of the codependency. It's this dance of death, the human magnet syndrome. Thank you, Arthur. Oh my God, that was going to drive me crazy. I'm really tired. It's just been a long day. So we empaths and codependents are very, very attractive to malignant narcissists and malignant, thank you, Teresa, malignant borderlines, because we want to fix, we want to heal, we want to make better. The problem of it is we cannot fix them because they don't want to be fixed, and we cannot fix them because we did not break them. We did not break them. We can offer them a path. We can say, hey, go to therapy. Hey, work on yourself. Hey, work on that inner child. Hey, get away from the abuser. Hey, do all this. But, yeah, we can't fix them. We can't. I wish we could. Be so cool. Be so cool if you could just breathing. I'm breathing. Hi. Okay, we're back. Why People Love Us, Who Hurt Us by Ross Rosenberg. I love his stuff. He's got some really good stuff. Okay, what causes BPD and NPD? I think I discussed that. BPD is trauma. NPD is genetic and insecure attachments. All right, so bringing awareness to CPTSD. So somebody was like, well, what are you going to do to bring awareness about this? Well, I'm doing it. This show, I'm trying to reach as many people as I can, because unfortunately, the ACA and the APA for a very, very, very long time has swept personality disorders and abuse under the rug. It's a dirty little secret. It's an uncomfortable thing to talk about. And you've got a bunch of humanists who are like, oh no, we can't hurt their little feelings. We can't name them for what they are. And like I said, whether you call the pink elephant in the corner of the room taking a shit, a pink elephant in the corner of the room taking a shit, or you call it Harold, it's still taking a shit. So to me, it's like, I think it's a mistake to get rid of the personality disorders. And I strongly encourage each one of you to contact the ACA and the APA and let them know that they had better not mess with the personality disorders and not get rid of them, because it is helpful to not only the targets of abuse, but if somebody's on the lower end of it and they've got traits of, it helps them identify and go, oh shit, I've got traits of this particular personality disorder. It's helpful. Now, where it becomes a problem, obviously, is, and I've run across this on YouTube occasionally, is that somebody will decide that they're going to go full bore after a particular person with personality disorder and call them names. That is not allowed. That is not okay. I do not condone that. I do not like abusers, but I also do not like people calling each other cunts and assholes on my page. So that being said, okay, where were we? Okay, so awareness. So talk about it. Talk about it. Talk about CPTSD. I have literally had some psychiatrists go, well, there is no such thing as CPTSD. It's not in the DSM-5. Yes, but it will be. It will be. We need to talk about it. It happens. It's out there. It's a fact. Whether you call it Floyd or not, it's a fact. So you need to talk. You need to illuminate. You need to put the spotlight on it. You need to put the spotlight on abuse. You need to put the spotlight on CPTSD. You need to put the spotlight on what abusers do. You need to put the spotlight on narcissistic abuse syndrome, which I honestly think should be just called abuse syndrome, because it's the same whether the abuse is from a narcissist, a borderline, or psychopath. It's all the same. So there's that. Okay. Talk. Your voice is your power, and abusers want us to be quiet. Abusers want to work in the dark. They want to work alone. They want nobody to know what they are doing. So it's super important for you to speak up about what you have been through and talk about CPTSD, educate the hell out of people, because people don't understand personality disorders. They don't understand dissociation. You know, oftentimes people are like, oh, Sybil was schizophrenic. No, Sybil was not schizophrenic. Sybil was severely abused by her crazy schizophrenic mother. The mother was schizophrenic. She had dissociative identity disorder. So yeah, people don't understand. Okay, please add a link for the source that we need to respond to about personality disorders. John, can you do me a huge favor and find the APA and the ACA links so that we can get people contacting them? Yeah, the DSM-5 is going to be up for review again here pretty soon. Now, the dirty little secret that most of you guys, well, maybe you know about it because I've talked about it before, but most of you guys don't know about is the APA and the ACA have a faction that want to get rid of the personality disorders. And what out of that is that for years, schools don't teach personality disorders. They gloss over the entire, cluster A, cluster B, cluster C's. They don't even talk about it because they're like, well, the humanists don't want us to talk about it. We don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. So we're just not going to teach you about it. Seriously, they do that. So you've got entire generations of therapists out there that know nothing about personality disorders. And it is a goddamn disservice, both to the targets of abuse and to the abusers. Let's face it. So yeah, you need to have education on personality disorders. You need to have education on cluster Bs, because all abusers come from the cluster B part of it, not the cluster A, not the cluster C. They come from cluster B. Cluster B is the antisocial, the histrionic, the borderline, the narcissistic, and I'm missing one. Anyway, long day. But the point being, it's the cluster Bs, and we need to have more therapists educated in this and know what to do, and they don't. And it's a disservice to everyone. So there is that. Okay. Hypervigilance. Okay. When somebody has been abused, when somebody has been through either PTSD or CPTSD, you are going to be hypervigilant. You're going to be on the lookout. You're going to be seeing narcissism in everybody. Raquel Lerner talks about it in her book. The Object of My Affection is in My Reflection, Coping with a Narcissist by Raquel Lerner. She talks about how you're going to think you're the abuser, or you're the narcissist, or you're going to think that, everyone's got narcissism. Well, yeah, because now you're hyper aware of it. Is that a bad thing? I don't think so. I really don't. And it's kind of like I said, you're going to be from Missouri for a real long time, the show me state. Prove to me you're not. Prove to me that you are honest. Prove to me that you are full of integrity. Prove to me that you're not manipulating. Prove to me that you're not, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Where that becomes a problem is where you make your world small. So if you allow your CPTSD to make you stop going out, meeting new people, if you're living with fear, that's not cool either. So there's hypervigilance, and then there's, oh my God, please get to a therapist. So you don't want to make your world small. You want to be aware. You want to be aware of your surroundings. You want to be aware of who's around you, but you don't want to make your world small. So hypervigilance is a good thing, sort of, as long as it doesn't slip into agoraphobia. So there's that. Anger. Okay. So with CPTSD, it's really hard to regulate your emotions because you're hypervigilant and you're on edge and you're this, that, and the other thing. And anger is always born of fear. So people are always freaked out when I tell them this. So let's wrap your head around this. Love is love, lust is lust, happy is happy, sad is sad. Anger is the only emotion that is not pure. All the other emotions are pure. Love is love, lust is lust, happy is happy, sad is sad. Anger is always driven by fear. Fear is always underneath the anger. So when somebody is angry, the first question you want to ask them, provided they're not an abuser, because they're using anger as a manipulation, but a normal person, you want to ask them, what are you afraid of? What's the fear? Why are you fearful? And usually they'll go, fuck you, I'm not fearful. And then you go, stop. Take a deep look. What's the anger about? What are you afraid of? And then 9 times out of 10, they'll go, shit. And then they'll finally get to what it is that's causing them to be afraid. So anger is fear. Anger is always fear. You show me somebody who's angry, I don't care how big and bad they are, they're fearful. Okay. I have EMDR. I found EMDR to be very helpful. Yes, EMDR I think can help a lot. I do think it's a good thing. So it helps you process abuse, trauma of any kind and not relive it, which is really cool. So yeah, I do think EMDR can help. It's not for everybody. Not everybody likes it, but if you're struggling with it, what the heck, give it a shot. I'm also a huge fan of medical marijuana, not just being stoned 24/7, but using it as a medicine. Yes, I have no problems with that. Okay. I feel sometimes I'm becoming crazy. Then I listen to Rico videos and now your videos. Yeah, you're not crazy. Here's the thing, guys. And I said this last night in the seminar. The sanest people on the face of the planet are the ones who question their sanity. They're the ones who are always going, oh my God, is it me? Oh my God, let me take a look inside. Am I wrong? Am I doing the next right step? Am I okay? Those are the ones who are sane. The ones who are batshit, motherfucking cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs crazy, and you want nothing to do with them, are the ones who are dead certain that they are 100% right and they have never made a mistake in their lives. Those are the narcissists. Those are the malignant borderlines. Those are the psychopaths. Those are the dark triads. So you got to watch out for those people. So people who are questioning themselves generally are not crazy. So I love it when people are like, oh my God, what if I'm the narcissist? No, you're not. You know how I know? You just asked if you were. So yeah, narcissists never question. Never question. They've never been wrong a day in their lives, according to them. So, okay. How long do flashbacks last? A lifetime. That's the good news, bad news. So the problem with CPTSD is it's always kind of going to be there. It may be there in a lesser degree. You may not get triggered as often or as intensely, but it's always kind of going to be there. So how do I explain this? So in my family, my father was very abusive, in every way you could possibly imagine. And as an adult, when I thought I was going to be unjustly accused of something I didn't do, I went into a full-blown panic attack, like nobody's business. And I hadn't had panic attacks for years. So the CPTSD had lessened absolutely until a situation came up where it was like I was being unjustly accused of something. And it was like, holy mother of God. So yeah, it's always going to be there. to lessening degrees. And, again, thank God, since I'm a therapist, I had the tools to, stop myself from actually fainting and passing out. That would have been bad. But I went all the way through to the whole, that kind of thing. And that's what's going to happen. The flashbacks are going to be there. So there's a reason we have CPTSD. It's because our caregiver or a parent or a lover or a sibling or a friend or whoever was abusive. And we're working through it, and it's always going to be there, and something will always trigger it, but it may not be to that intense degree that it was. How long do flashbacks last? They can last minutes. They can last seconds. It just depends on how good you are at being able to pull yourself into the present moment. Because remember, the amygdala is thinking that this is happening right here, right now. So, you've got to be able to go, wait, nope, I'm safe. I'm okay. I'm breathing. Holy cow. Okay. Adrenaline. Okay. Calm down, adrenal gland. Just calm down. You got to talk yourself through it. Okay. I hope that answered that question. How to focus. Okay. So people are saying that they are having difficulty with memory. There is a reason they are having difficulty with memory, and it goes back to the amygdala. So when we are overstimulated with threats, when threats are coming into our space, okay, the amygdala gets overused. And just like with anything else in the body, it starts enlarging. So it starts getting bigger, and the hippocampus and the hypothalamus start shrinking. Hippocampus and hypothalamus are involved in short-term to long-term memory. So when this guy is just like huge and it's really working hard and it's shrinking these two guys, you're going to have a hard time remembering things. And especially you're going to have a hard time remembering abuse. For a couple of reasons. One, you've got this going on, and two, you've got CPTSD, and three, your abuser is sitting there telling you, don't remember. I'm going to gaslight you. I'm going to change the story. I'm going to rewrite history. I'm going to convince you that, up is down and black is white and green is yellow and left is orange and you can smell the number 9. So, they're going to do all sorts of things. So, so that's what's going on. Why you can't focus is because your amygdala is over stimulated. So the way to get and yes, you can reverse it, but what you've got to do is you've got to stop the threats coming in. And this goes back to adrenal fatigue as well. You've got to be able to manage the triggers, and you've got to work on calming the system and self-soothing talk. So remember, how you think it is how it turns out. Remember, the amygdala cannot tell the difference between future, past, a thought, reality, a dream, etc. So you've got to learn to self-soothe, and you've got to learn to start calming yourself, that you're safe, that you're okay, everything's fine, it's all right. I'm breathing. Whew, it's okay. Hello, adrenal gland. I always call it the adrenaline gland. I'm sorry. It's the adrenal gland. So, hello, adrenal gland. Please calm down. We're safe. I don't need all that extra energy. There's nowhere to run, nobody to kill. I can't freeze. Breathe, everything's fine. You got to do that. So meditation is huge. I love to meditate. I love the Tonglen meditation. Tonglen meditation is really super helpful. It is the meditation for difficult times. There's a longer version of it on YouTube. It's the Pima Chodron one. I think it's like 31 or 40 minutes long, but you can do a shortened version of it. And this is what I taught last night in the seminar. And in fact, I think this is how I'm going to end the show today. Is I'm going to teach you guys the Tonglen meditation. So the Tonglen meditation is for you. It is for compassion, and you start with yourself first. So you calm yourself, you center yourself, you close your eyes, you go to someplace beautiful. I mean, beautiful. I mean, it is like the sun is shining, the birds are singing, you can smell the flowers. The flowers are just fragrant and gorgeous. There's a wind, there's a breeze. It's the perfect temperature. It's amazing. It's a meadow, or it's the beach, or it's someplace you love that you feel safe. And then you start the meditation. May I have peace. May I have freedom from suffering. May I have all that I need. Food, shelter, companionship. May I have an internet connection that actually fucking works. Holy shit. May I have peace. May I have freedom from suffering. May I have all that I need. Food, shelter, companionship. May I have peace. You do it again. May I have peace. May I have freedom from suffering. May I have all that I need. food, shelter, companionship. May I have peace. And you do that until you feel comfortable with it, because we don't like wishing ourselves well. I want you to get used to wishing yourself well, period. So then you move on to somebody neutral. You move on to somebody who is your bagger at your grocery store, or you move on to somebody who's your Uber driver or your Lyft driver. May they have peace. May they have freedom from suffering. May they have all that they need: food, shelter, companionship. May they have peace. And you repeat that 3 or 4 times for them. Then, when you've mastered all that, you move on to your abuser. I know people are just going, Kris, are you out of your ever-loving mind? Well, yes, and this is what's going to help you let go of them. It's detaching. So here's the thing. Sometimes we hang on to the anger and we hang on to the memories of the abuse because it's a way to keep the abuser with us. Ooh. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. So a story that I shared last night at the seminar is that I was hugely angry at my dad, hugely angry. And in working with my own therapist, I figured out about 2 or 3 years ago, the reason I was so angry with him is it was a way to keep him alive, because I wanted him to be alive, because as long as he was alive, there was hope. The second the breath left his body, there was no hope. And that was a way to keep him alive. It was to keep that anger going. It was a way to keep him near me. It was a way to punish him. It was a way to keep it going and maybe make him change. Little kid, little inner child. So what you do, and you may not be ready for it. And if you're not ready to wish your abuser, compassion, that's cool. Work on the first 2 until you get comfortable with that, and then work with a therapist on the last one. But what you want to do is you want to imagine your abuser. And if you cannot imagine them as an adult, imagine them as a baby. Imagine them as an innocent child, because everybody does not pop out of the womb wanting to harm and hurt. It's a learned behavior. May they have peace. May they have freedom from suffering, because the suffering is what's causing them to be complete fucking assholes. May they have peace. May they have freedom from suffering. May they have all that they need: food, shelter, companionship. May they have peace. May they have peace. May they have freedom from suffering. May they have all that they need: food, shelter, companionship. And as you do this, you let them go. You cannot heal them. You cannot fix them. You cannot make them better. You cannot bring them back to sanity. It is a choice. And they are unfortunately choosing to walk down a very dark path. All you can do is have compassion. And you can have compassion from afar. You do not need to be near them. Pima Chodron talks about the idiot compassion. So idiot compassion is when we, for some reason, allow abusers to continue to abuse us because we get the message, oh, we have to fix them. Oh, we have to heal them. Oh, I'm a good Buddhist. Oh, I'm a good Christian. I need to fix them. That's idiot compassion. You love them from afar. You love them from afar. You can shut the door because, again, you don't want to watch them die by inches, and you do not have to be a part of that drama. But you also let them know the door's unlocked. There's a way back. And the way back is to get therapy and to work on yourself. And I'm talking about the target of abuse, not the abuser. So, yeah. So you let them go. May they have peace. May they have freedom from suffering. May they have all that they need: food, shelter, companionship. May they have peace. So that is the way to start working on the PTSD. You take your power back. You take your power back, because as long as you're living in anger and revenge and resentment and et cetera, as the Buddha says it the best. It's like resentment is like picking up 2 hot coals and tending to throw them at somebody else, but the only person that gets burned is you. The abuser doesn't care. The abuser doesn't care that you're hurt or harmed or pissed off or sad or whatever. So that's why self-compassion is so huge in healing CPTSD or PTSD. So anyway, on that very calming note, I think I'm going to sign off. Thanks, you guys, for listening in. I truly appreciate it. Next week, we are going to try something new. John and I would like to start doing the show at noon, because we've had people from Europe writing in, calling in, saying, gosh, we really would like to be a part of this, but you're on so late, we can't participate, and we'd really like to. So I think we're going to start doing the show at noons. I'm tired. Noon on Sunday. So next week, it will be noon on Sunday. Please do look for my new book. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him cha-cha. Available on Kindle, Amazon. You can print on demand, etc., etc. Share this video with everybody, and don't let anybody make you be quiet. Your voice is your most powerful tool to educate and to keep abusers from doing their abuse. So there it is. All right, guys, love you all. Have a wonderful, wonderful week, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.